more on the disappearance. We're joined now by Ross Amer, the CEO of Aero Consulting Experts in San Clemente in California. Ross, thank you very much for joining us. Now, the Greek defense minister said that the plane was traveling at 37,000 feet at proper speed, then a sudden 90-degree turn, and then a 360-degree turn in the opposite direction, plunging to 22,000 feet. This does not seem like a normal flight path, does it?
Good morning, Ali John. That is correct. That is definitely not a proper way to handle the aircraft. No pilot will make that or needs to do such a drastic maneuver, which tells us that possibly something drastically went wrong with the airplane itself, where it lost control for some reason. The pilots did not have control of that aircraft.
And when you look at it, the plane was traveling at cruising altitude, and this is generally regarded as the safest portion of the flight, right?
That is correct. Cruise is perhaps one of the safest portions, especially at this particular instance where the crews were getting ready to start their descent, what we call top of descent, once they left the Athene control and now talking to the Cairo control. A few miles after that, they would have normally started their gradual descent into Cairo.
Okay, now, at this point, there are definitely more questions than answers, but Egypt's aviation minister has said that terrorism was more likely than a technical failure. I want to ask you, how likely is that?
Well, you know, I hate to jump into any conclusion at this point without having all the facts. The easiest way would be just to say, yes, it was terrorism, but real professionals, the investigators, will look at just about everything. Possible breakup of the aircraft itself, and terrorism, obviously. Those are the things that they will look at. They'll take a look at the maintenance records of the aircraft, the background of the crews, what type of rest period they had. All these things are going to be looked at. But what we really need is to locate those voice and data recorders, or commonly known as black boxes. Those would tell us just about everything. And hopefully once we discover those and perhaps parts of the aircraft, components, or I hate to even mention bodies, we will be able to, forensic scientists will be able to find out precisely exactly what happened to this aircraft and the occupants.
Now, for that to happen, obviously, the cockpit voice recorder and the data flight recorder, but first the debris field needs to be found if this is a crash. Now, a distress signal was detected at around 4:28 a.m. That's almost 2 hours after the jet vanished from a radar. We do not know that if this was from Flight 804, right?
Yes, but in this particular case, the radar signature of the aircraft, or the last position that the radar saw, is going to be in the ATC, air traffic controller's radar. They record all these sightings of the radar, and they can go back to it and replay to know exactly what position on the surface of the Earth this aircraft was at that moment. And they can literally pinpoint that position within tenths of a mile, and that would help the search and rescue operation to pinpoint that area and hopefully find the debris field if there is one, or perhaps one of the best news that I heard this morning was that U.S. Navy had sent one of their P-3 Orions. These are submarine hunters. They're old airplanes, these P-3s, old prop aircraft, but they're very, very sophisticated equipment on these airplanes that could detect underwater noises. And that's what we're looking for. Those black boxes have what we call pingers on them. They send signals under the water, and this P3 Orion could land what they call sono buoys. These are sonar devices that go into the water, and they detect the pinging that is coming from the black boxes. Okay. Unlike what happened with MH370, the Malaysian, where they waited too long for these pingers to unfortunately stop, okay. This one hopefully will be able to find them through this perhaps P3 and surface vessels.
And that's certainly what they'll be looking for as the search efforts enter day 2. All right, Ross Amer, thank you very much for joining us.